Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Timo Albers Daily. Joining me this week is Rianna O'Meara Hunt. The New Zealand-born racing driver and I caught up recently to chat about her meteoric rise in the world of motorsport so far, which has included, but it is not limited to, competing in a crucial sprint shootout, winning in Indianapolis, and participating in the 24 Hours of Dubai, all of which has led to becoming a member of the Aston Martin Driver Program. There's a lot to unpack here, but we somehow managed to do it, and Rianna comes across as a really genuine, down-to-earth individual who's going from strength to strength and will prove to be a great asset for Aston Martin in the future. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
Hi, Rianna. Thank you very much for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm also very good, thank you. And we're just going to dive straight into it, I think. And I'm going to ask the cliche question I ask everyone, which is what first got you interested in motorsport?
Good question. It is a little bit of a wriggly route. My dad, was originally from the UK, and he moved to New Zealand, at a younger age, around 18. And him and his friend, when they were a little bit older, decided that they wanted to try out racing. My dad personally had never been involved in motorsport up until that point. He didn't really ever watch car racing, but got an interest for it.
And so, where did
So
interest come from? Did you find out, or was it just one of those things like conquer on the head sort of thing, and just, oh, that looks fun?
yeah, kind of like that looks fun. His friend was in motorsport, karting and all of that. So yeah, they brought a mini challenge car in New Zealand. And they raced that for about 3, 4 years. And that was when I was around 4 years old. So I kind of grew up around the racetrack. They soon realized how much I loved being there and being a part of it. I was always cleaning the car or trying to help the mechanic do something on the car, getting involved. And then his friend that he shared the car with said, "Oh, you should, bring her to the go-kart track and kind of see how she is, what she likes, if she wants to have a go or not." So when I was about 8 years old, that happened. We went up to Wellington Kart Track, up in
Mm,
Kaitoke, New Zealand. And funny enough, there was a go-kart on sale that day.
it's meant to be.
And I convinced my dad to let me have a go at lunchtime. And by the end of the day, the kart was mine, and it's never stopped from there.
I'd say very good timing on your part there. Even if
I
you were 8 years
know.
old, you clearly masterminded that whole thing.
Yeah, it was very coincidental, but probably meant to be.
So you're saying you growing up rather at the track, watching your dad race, getting involved, and then getting behind the seat yourself. But from a personal perspective, New Zealand quite far away, and in terms of
Mhm.
growing up there with motorsport, I'm not sure how similar or different that is to what we'd have in the UK and in Europe. So talk to me a bit about what your experience was like growing up in New Zealand with the racing background there. Is there a lot of it going on at that age, or is it kind of you've got to do a lot of traveling because it's kind of more remote?
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand is very far away from the rest of the world. But there is quite a big motorsport scene. I think if you've grown up um, in a family that loves motorsport, you really know the community.
Mm.
But definitely, if you haven't, then racing is quite a new prospect to most people. Um, I was always racing with really big fields and karting from the age of 8 until I left. We kind of all moved up in the age groups together, which was really fun. You create
Mm.
friendships that become like family. So I've got some really, really close friends from racing. And also, you get really close with all your like race mechanics and not engineers, but your race mechanics there and driver trainers and stuff like that. So it is quite a big scene. But on the scale of things, probably not as big as it is over here. We are just a little country. So I did do a lot of travel over to Australia in my kind of junior, senior career. Took a lot of time off school, but I was always there when I had to be there and and
I'm
I
sure you
didn't let.
weren't complaining too much about having to skip school to go racing, though, were you?
No, not really, but my parents made sure that I didn't fall behind. If I fell behind in school, I wasn't allowed to race. So it
Mhm.
was very, very strict on that, which I'm grateful for. Um, but yeah, at the time it was hard to juggle.
Were you ever tempted to go into the off-road route? I know that's quite popular down in that part of the world, or was that not really something that you ever mixed with?
No, it's not something that I ever mixed with, which I kind of regret. I think that type of racing is extreme and you've got to have some big balls to do it. Yeah, the rally route wasn't really ever for me, but I would love to give it a go. Maybe if I go back, I can try it.
So there's never say never attitude, isn't there? So
Yeah.
I'm going to fast forward incredibly far then to last year. I'm just going to skip the middle part out for a minute and just go because there was the whole thing of you racing with the Heart of Racing team, which was it seemed quite a big leap because it seemed like you weren't more by any comparison, but seemed like that was a sizable thing to then start doing last year. So I want to know, how did this team up occur and what was that whole experience like from your perspective?
Yeah, so I had only been racing cars for one season really. So I'm very, very fresh into it. And also, going to a new country, new team, everything was brand new. I raced Toyota 86s in New Zealand the year before. A team approached me there saying that, someone's come over and they're wanting to sponsor three 86s, and we want you to be a part of it.
Sort
Since
of
then, I
properly
don't.
scouted for it then.
Yeah, in a way. But I'd never done car racing beforehand. So it was based on my karting career and what I had achieved there. Um, so it was a big jump. It was also the year of COVID. So we had
Just
a
to add that
massive,
extra wrinkle into it.
yeah, we had a massive, massive lockdown, as most of the world knows. And it ended up being that I couldn't really do any practice before the first round. I'd only ever done one race start before we went into the first round of the championship, and I'd never been on the track before. So
Apart
it
from
was
that,
a
easy as anything.
yeah, just throw me into the deep end. It was a year of learning. It wasn't the best ever year of racing, but it taught me a lot. And after that, these cars were sponsored by the Heart of Racing. This is where the connection had come from. Gabe came
Mhm.
over to New Zealand in COVID, and wanted to do some racing still. So after the season finished, we know we had some team meetings with Ian and Tegan. Um, and Ian has told me that they were having a GT4 shootout at the end of 2022 and that I should apply for it.
Mhm.
So taking on his word, I applied for it. Um, I made sure to do all the necessary prep. As I said, I'd only had 1 year of racing prior, and I knew I was going to be up against quite a lot of girls that had maybe 6, 7 years of car racing under their belt. So I kind of researched a bit in New Zealand who had an Aston Martin GT4 that I could use. I, from my karting experience, had a good relationship with Ronan Murphy, Greg Murphy's son.
Mhm.
So I asked him if he would do some driver coaching with me on the days that I was testing, and he agreed to, which fast-tracked a lot of my learning, and was really good. Um, I then went and scouted for some media training as well from Greg Rust, an Australian commentator.
Yeah.
Kind of just made sure I had all of the necessary tools in my back pocket that I could lean into on this like 3-day shootout. So there
Were you
was over.
expecting to actually get the seat then at the end of the shootout, or were you just going there thinking this is just going to be a really good experience and I'm glad that they chosen me to be one of the people trying out here, but you weren't necessarily thinking of this is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, you always go in backing yourself, but I had done some, after getting told that I was selected on the top 9 that we're going to go to the shootout, you do research about who you're going to be up against. And there were some pretty big names. So I went into the shootout backing myself, but it was never a clear cut, yeah, I'm gonna get this. It was I'm gonna go and do
Just trying
my
to find
best.
that balance between backing yourself but not getting too cocky with it.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm not one to be cocky. I'm
Mhm.
definitely kind of on the quieter side. But you do have to back yourself and yeah, I just kind of went into the experience saying, look, this is going to be awesome, whatever comes out of it. I'm going to be driving a GT4 car for 2 days. Like, who can complain? Um, so yeah, I went over to the shootout, met 9 other girls, and we all really got along well for 3 days, which I was really surprised about. Um, we all gelled really, really well together. And I gelled really well with the team. So all the preparation I'd kind of done before the shootout really helped. It kind of calmed my nerves down and gave me a little bit more confidence. So yeah, after the 3 days, I felt really good with what I had done. I was confident with what I did on track, and confident with my media side. So, after the 3 days, we were kind of told we'll be in contact within a month. Well done. But you can
I was
go
going to
home
say,
now.
how long was it before you found out? Because I imagine if it was a month, that was one of the longest months you've had then.
Yeah, it was. It was a very, very long month. I flew straight from America to Australia, and I went straight into some work, which helped because
Mhm.
you're quite busy and your mind's distracted. But a week out to this month, I was like, okay, I'm about to find out. Like, I should get the phone call any minute. So it was nerve-wracking. But as I said, I went away from the experience really confident with how I performed. Um, so yeah, I got the call on I think it was a Friday morning. And yeah, Ian called me up and said, "Congratulations, you've been selected as one of the 2 drivers. And would you like to take up the opportunity?" And
You
I
know,
said,
I'll
"Well,
think about it. Let me get back to you in about a month.
yeah." I was like, "Well, obviously, yes, I would love to take this opportunity up." And yeah, it all kind of kicked off. It was a long summer to kind of get prepared. You do all the necessary like fitness, make sure you're fit enough to be there. You want to be the best of the best.
Mm.
So yeah, that's kind of how it all kick started. In saying that, I was a little bit it was a bit daunting. As I said, I haven't had that much race car experience. But I'd been chosen out of these 9 girls, so I knew they believed in me and they backed me. So I needed to back myself as well.
Based off
So
that, then I'm curious, did you have a moment at some point during that year, last year, where you kind of had that out of body moment of, oh my days, I'm here doing this, and I don't know quite how I got here. And on top of that, did you have favorite moment? I suspect I may know that one. And did you have a moment that was the most challenging for you in terms of you had that how am I here thing, but also how am I here? How do I get over this particular problem, whatever that was?
yeah, I had all of those moments for sure through the year. Round 1 was really eye-opening. Sonoma was a hard round. It kind of all flooded in, like, oh my gosh, like this is happening. Um, and I'm over the other side of the world. I'm learning this track that I've never done before in my life on the race weekend, and I need to perform.
Hmm.
You want to be performing at the best you can to be impressing people like Ian and Paul and Roman and all of these great drivers. And yeah, you do have those moments where you're like, I've been selected, and this is a really cool experience, and this is surreal. Um, but there are challenging moments as well. I made what was it, round five, I think. Certain circumstances leaded up to it. And we were at Road America. All
Mhm.
the race weekends I had done, I'd never been at the racetrack before, so I was learning them all on the weekend. And Road America is, consequences can happen if you get it wrong. And unfortunately, in qualifying, I got it wrong. I tried to over push, and we had a crash. So that was something I put my hand up for, and I
Mm.
still do. But you don't learn unless you have moments like that.
So you'd
Um,
rather make that mistake pushing the car and pushing your limits than not doing that, if that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah. And those are moments that you can reflect back on and be like, yes, there's circumstances that led up to this, but what could I have done better? And what
Mm.
can I learn from that? And I took a lot from away from that experience. But then, you turn up to the next round and you put it all behind you and you just get on with the job. Which I did really well. I qualified second at the next round. And we kept pushing through. We had so much pace at Sebring, but unfortunately, a few circumstances led to not finishing overall very well. But you learn and you adapt and you grow from those experiences, and I think I proved that I did all of those things. Um, and then yeah, the final round is probably the best of the rounds, most memorable
Not a
round
bad
of
place
the
to
year.
do it.
Yeah, it was a great way to finish off what the year could have been. I think Hannah and I both showed pace and potential through the year, but we never really put it together.
Mm.
Um, and it all came right at Indianapolis. Funny enough, we only had 15 minutes of practice before race one, just through different circumstances of rain
Maybe
and
that's the trick, though, because that seemed to work out for you on that occasion.
it
So
did
maybe
seem
that's
to
something
work
worth looking
out.
into for the future.
Yeah, for sure. So we both kind of went into qualifying like with no expectation. We never really knew where we were at. We'd both never been to the track before. Um, and she put it on pole in her class, and I put it on the third in my class. So
Mhm.
we're like, okay, we've got pace. We just need to convert it now. And that's exactly what we did. We won both races, and we made history for Aston Martin being the first GT4 duo all-female lineup to win in the Vantage. So a perfect way to end it.
So not a
Um,
bad way to top off the year after, like you say, you've all these brand new tracks for the first time, a completely new country, and getting thrown in deep end, like you say, and then just get that handy little record for Aston Martin at the end and go, yeah, that's just what we do.
exactly, yeah, and winning at a track like Indianapolis, such
Hmm.
a historic track, getting to kiss the bricks. Yeah, it
How
was
long
just
did that
amazing.
one take to sink in?
It took a while. You kind of live it in the moment and you're like, wow, this is awesome. But I don't think you realize the gratitude and the extent of how big it is.
Hmm.
Until, we had a couple interviews with Aston Martin magazine and all of this stuff, and it was like, yeah, okay, what we did was awesome, and we achieved something really high. And it just makes you hungry for more. I left that round, just wanting just craving the racing again, and just wanting to get back out in a car. So yeah.
And it looks like you carried that momentum forward into this year at the start in Portugal in particular, because you had a pretty strong start there. And admittedly, Dubai then was a bit challenging, but at the same time, it's kind of, even though you probably would have enjoyed that in the moment, it's good to have that moment of checking yourself and knowing that it's not going to be all smooth sailing. But I'm interested how you navigate that kind of roller coaster of emotions, because you go from, like you say, Indianapolis, Aston Martin, kind of completely cloud nine sort of stuff to thinking me in Portugal, okay, I know what I'm doing now. Then you've got Dubai as that challenging thing. How did you navigate that? Because was it just kind of a thing where, like last year, you would go from round to round and you go, well, it's a new track. I'm learning it all for the first time. if it doesn't go well, that's okay. You just got to put it behind you, learn what you can, and move to the next one? Or did you take this a little more personally because you had that year under your belt?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to perform the best you can. And from Indianapolis to Portimao, I hadn't been in the car. So it was October until January, I hadn't been in a
Mm,
car. So and not only I hadn't been in a car, I've never been in a BMW. So I was racing a BMW in Portimao. And the reason for the Portimao trip was because I secured a late seat in the 24-hour Dubai, like you said,
mm,
and I wanted to make Dubai the best I could. So I went out and with the help of Bear Motorsport, I created some relationships with a couple of teams, and we got me to Portimao to kind of scope out what the BMW was like. I got to drive it before I got to Dubai. And it was a really, really good weekend. I got a podium in my race, third, and then we got a podium in our shared hour race.
mm.
So it was really successful. It was a lot to learn. The BMW was really, really different, and I'm really glad that I got to drive it at Portimao before heading to Dubai. It kind of settled a lot of nerves that I had going into my first 24-hour race.
Portimao is an interesting track for any kind of racing that you get there. It's just there's nothing quite like it, and it's literally a roller coaster in places. So if there's anything to settle your nerves in some way, that is a good one to go to in preparation.
Yeah, exactly. And I was heading over to Portugal expecting sun, warmth,
You forgot it was in
and
January, right?
yeah, but you don't expect it to be 12 degrees or 8 degrees and raining. It was raining every single practice day I had there. And then by the race it was dry. So the practicing the practicing was a bit challenging. I didn't race at all in the wet in America. So it was pretty much my first time in the rain in a GT car at Portimao, which is, as you said, a roller coaster of a track. Heaps of blind, fast corners where you've really got to trust the car and trust yourself. So it was a big learning curve, and I'm really grateful for it. But yeah, it was a rough way to learn Portimao for sure.
You were saying earlier about if you had gone into rally racing that you need big balls to do that, but from everything you're saying so far, I don't think your balls are that small either, to be honest.
Yeah, you learn to adapt and have confidence in yourself, but rally is definitely up there.
And this year, I was going to ask you what your plans were, but I'm still going to do that. But we kind of already know a bit about that. But I'll throw it to you to do the proper presentation of what you're up to this year because it's quite exciting.
Yeah, so through Portimao, I met a team called Fossetti. They are a new Aston Martin partner team. And we kind of got talking. Joe, he expressed interest in what I was doing this year, what I had lined up. And in all honesty, I was kind of coming over here during your winter over Christmas time to sort out a plan for this year.
Mhm.
Um, I could get a UK passport, which made moving over here really easy, and probably the right thing to do. So it was always on my mind that I was gonna make the move to the UK. I just didn't know when. So through talks with Joe, he said, I really believe in your end goal and what you want to do, and I want to be a part of that. So I've teamed up with Fossetti Motorsport this year. I'm racing alongside Jody Sloss in GT Cup. So it's gonna be a really good year. Again, all tracks that I've never done before. But at least I'm in the car that I'm comfortable with. I love the Aston Martin. It's such a good race car. And I've also been selected to be a part of the AMR Driver Academy. So last year creating history for Aston Martin, I always wanted to be a part of the brand. I love the car. I love how prestigious the brand is and how they present themselves. So it was a really big goal of mine to be incorporated in that, and I have successfully done that.
I imagine that was
And
still a bit of a pinch me moment though when you got that confirmed.
yeah, it was. It was a massive pinch me moment. So I got the call up that I'd been selected for the academy, and I had 5 days to sort my stuff out and move to the UK. Um, so when I say that I do everything quite last minute, I definitely mean it.
Yep.
So yeah, we had a 3-day seminar which went really, really well. And that was also a pinch me moment, meeting Darren Turner and all of those guys.
Makes it all real.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it all really real. And just learning off everyone there. So no, I'm really excited for the year ahead. I had a test day with Forseti and the team are awesome. I can't wait to get involved. They had massive wins at British GT, the opening round that they just had. So, really, really strong start to the year, and Jody and I hope to continue that winning streak in a couple weeks at Donington.
And say, is there a track that you're most looking forward to going to this season then? Like you say, they're all brand new for you. Is there one that you're like, oh, I'm glad we get to go here, even though I have no idea what to expect?
Brands Hatch.
Mhm.
I'm really looking forward to Brands Hatch. I did a couple of runs in a sim, actually at the Aston Martin Academy to try and learn it a bit. But the
Isn't that a fun
undulation,
sentence to say now as well?
I know, it's really cool. Um, yeah, just the undulation and the amount of blind corners, the fast stuff I
Mm.
love. You kind of really have to push your boundaries and push your confidence. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that track. I think it's our second round, so
Just a quick word on Hannah and Jodie then. Have you met Jodie before, or will this be the first time that you're kind of teaming up together or meeting or anything really?
yeah, so we met for the first time on the 21st of last month. So we had a test day
Pretty
together.
fresh still.
Yeah, yeah, very fresh. But we get along amazingly. She was selected to be a part of the Aston Martin Academy as well. So we had those 3 days together, which really grew our bond. And I think it's really important to have a good relationship with your teammate if you can. So yeah, no, we click really well. We're pretty much the same size, so it helps sharing a car when you're the same size as each other. And yeah, we plan to spend the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before Donington together. She's going to come down from Scotland, and we're going to do a couple of things together, just to get to know each other more and create more of that relationship. So no, it's starting out to be a really good year.
How was it with Hannah last year? Was that the same kind of vibe of spend a bit of time together when you can so you can help cement that team bond?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard because I was traveling back and forth from America
Mm.
every time. So I never really spent too much time in America after the races, but we went to a couple of IMSA rounds last year together, and we created a really, really tight friendship and bond through the year. I'm so happy that she's carrying on with the harder racing, and she just had a really successful weekend at round one, and I miss that friendship and that bond, and we still message and catch up with each other, which is really, really nice. But yeah, no, we definitely grew a good and special bond through the year together.
2 for 2, that's always good.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a good start to the racing career so far.
I'd say that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
Couple of fun questions just to finish off then. Is there a fun fact about you that people don't know about?
Oh, fun fact. That's a really good question. A fun fact that people don't know about me. I Oh, I'm a qualified personal trainer. Is that fun? I don't know.
Okay, it's unexpected, so yeah,
Yeah.
we can count it. Yeah, well, it's, just because racing drivers have to stay fit doesn't mean you're going to be qualified in it. So that's probably a little secret weapon you've got.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I love the gym. I love training. I train every day. So, I thought, why not learn about it? Why not be kind of more on the edge than most about that? So I went out and got qualified in it. So yeah, little fun fact.
And then finally, would you rather be a landscape artist or a culinary chef?
A what?
Culinary chef,
What was the first one?
landscape artist.
Landscape artist or a culinary chef? I think a chef because I'd love to be able to cook.
Are you not good at cooking now then?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm fantastic, but I can
So
manage.
that wasn't a voice of confidence there.
Yeah, I can definitely manage.
Surviving.
Yeah.
Uh, well, can't have everything, but maybe at some point.
Maybe some point I'll learn, yeah, for sure.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today, and I want to wish you the best of luck for the rest of 2024. I'm very much looking forward to see how you get on with a fresh batch of tracks for this year. So fingers crossed for you.
Thank you so much for the interview. It's been amazing. It was really nice to meet you.
Thank you again to Rianna for taking the time to chat. Wishing her the best of luck for everything else in 2024. Details of where you can find both Rianna and I on social media and everywhere else will be in the description of this episode, so do go and check that out. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again soon.